This is an Eyewitness News 8 update. Change is underway at the top in Kuwait. The Emirates ambassador to the United Nations says the cabinet has resigned so new officials can begin rebuilding that war-torn country. The Senate wants America's Gulf War allies to know that they must keep their promise of monetary support. The lawmakers voted on Tuesday to prohibit the sale of arms to Saudi Arabia, Germany, and other allies until they pay the money they have pledged. More news later on Southern Nevada's 24-hour news source.
Back when I was a boy, Mom made a country fried steak that was so good we couldn't wait to sit down to supper. I always thought we should have one just like it at Wendy's.
Introducing Wendy's 99-cent country fried steak. 100% beef, lightly breaded and cooked golden brown. It's new on the 99-cent super value menu.
You can take the boy out of the country, but he still has to eat.
Come into Wendy's, but hurry. Dave's only cooking it for a limited time.
If you've been in any kind of an accident, you need to call Ron Israel. His experience in dealing with insurance companies and personal injury accidents make him your best choice to help you.
If you've been in any kind of an accident, call me. There's no fee until you collect.
The knowledge and experience to get the most compensation for your suffering and pain. Ron Israel, 386-8000. Call Ron Israel today, 386-8000.
Joan Rivers, tomorrow at 9 on Channel 8.
Across America tonight. American weapons may be silent, but our troops are still there. Tonight the question, when will the U.S. military come home? Despite great success in the Gulf, Pentagon cuts could shoot down several weapons programs, including the Patriot. And attention shifts from war in the Gulf to war on our streets.
I just thought about getting over. I thought about this and surviving, you know. I'm just concerned about reaching my next birthday without getting shot or murdered.
From CBS News, this is America Tonight, with Charles Kuralt and Lesley Stahl.
Good evening. Tonight, the entire cabinet of Kuwait handed in its resignation to the emir. Kuwait's ambassador to the UN says a new cabinet will meet what he called new conditions in the country. In Iraq, Saddam Hussein is fighting for his country and for his life, and the ferocity of the war there now exceeds that of the four-day battle he fought against the United States and the Allies. Saddam and what is left of his loyal, battered army control Baghdad, the capital. But away to the north, the Kurds, who always have hated Saddam, say they have taken a large area, including the rich oil center of Kirkuk. They say rioting has spread to Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, on the Tigris opposite the ruins of Nineveh. In the south, Shiite Muslim fundamentalists are on a rampage. The old city of Basra, battered by the Iranians in the 7-year war, battered by the Americans in weeks of bombing, now is suffering civil war, and thousands of bodies are said to be littering the streets. These Shiite rebels say they are fighting the Republican Guard for control of the other big southern city, Nasiriyah. The only certifiably peaceful part of Iraq tonight is the part still occupied by the United States and the Allies, awaiting a ceasefire. Ceasefire is not the word to describe Iraq, not tonight. As soon as one war ended there, a couple of others began. There's a good question whether Saddam Hussein can survive so many wars in so short a time.
The U.S. military in Saudi Arabia has devised plans for resuming attacks on Iraq if Saddam Hussein doesn't meet allied conditions for a formal ceasefire. That according to tomorrow's editions of the Los Angeles Times. At the White House today, congressional leaders quizzed President Bush about the continued presence of U.S. troops in Iraq and asked whether the withdrawal of troops would be held up because of the internal unrest there.
We should really disassociate ourselves from the internal struggles by the Shiites and the Kurds in the north. Now, that's got to settle itself out. We sent our troops over there pursuant to the 12 UN resolutions. The principal objective was to liberate Kuwait, and that has been done.
The The White House insisted that the return of troops is continuing on schedule. The Pentagon says 80,000 soldiers have left the region already. But the White House was vague and non-committal about how many troops would be left in the region and whether the flow of troops coming home would slow down because of the internal skirmishing. In fact, new troops are being activated and sent over, like these Marines from San Antonio, Texas.
We're a reconnaissance force, which means we're the eyes and ears for the infantry, the artillery, et cetera, et cetera.
In Iraq, rebel forces continue to challenge Saddam Hussein's rule with conflicting reports over who controls which areas. Iraqi soldiers are begging the American troops to take them prisoner because they are so afraid to go home. Congressional leaders asked President Bush today at the White House if he would retaliate, resume hostilities against Iraq if it uses chemical weapons against the rebels. But the president refused to answer. One of those leaders who met with the president is joining us now, Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman David Boren. Senator, first off, what did you learn at the White House, and what do you know from your own chairmanship of this Intelligence Committee about the situation inside Iraq with the rebels? Who's winning?
Well, Leslie, I think this is a situation that is changing virtually hour to hour and day to day. It appears that Saddam Hussein still has the upper hand, but I think the opposition is much stronger than was anticipated, and so that it could be changing. The Kurds are obviously seizing some territory in the north, and apparently as soon as the Shiite opponents are brought under control in the south, when the troops move out, the rebellion starts all over again. So he's getting a much tougher fight from some of these groups than he ever expected, and his own army in some situations is not staying as united and as disciplined as he had hoped. So it is still a changing situation.
Now, about our own troops staying there and being redeployed in southern Iraq, there are a lot of questions about whether President Bush is leaving them there because of the unrest. Is that your understanding? And how long do you think our troops will stay in Iraq?
Well, I don't think that the president's really trying to inject us back into the civil conflict in Iraq. He made that very clear to us today. I think he's anxious to bring the troops home as soon as possible. I think their continued presence there is more related to the fact that we don't have a permanent ceasefire agreement yet with the Iraqis. We don't have resolved the question of their giving up of their claims to Kuwait in some formal sense with the Revolutionary Council acting. We haven't had commitments from them yet about what they might agree to in terms of inspections or other steps to prevent their ability to rebuild their chemical, nuclear, and biological capability. So there are a lot of loose ends that have to be tied up. A firm agreement, a formal agreement with the United Nations and with the coalition before we can say that it's all finally ended. But I think that's really the reason for it, not that the president wants to get us in the middle of domestic fighting between factions in Iraq. He made that pretty clear, although I think, as he said again and again, the United States would like to see Saddam Hussein fall from power, and we've made it pretty clear to the Iraqi people that it will certainly hasten their ability to rebuild their country and to have economic relations with the rest of the world if Saddam is removed from power.
But did the president assure you flat out that all our troops are coming home, or did he tell you, as we've read from other sources, that he's going to leave a sizable number of troops there?
Well, the president didn't give any detail as to how many troops he intends to leave or what kind of presence we'll have to have for a period of time thereafter. He said very strongly that it was his intention to bring our troops home as quickly as they possibly could come. I know that we hope eventually for some kind of an international supervision of the situation in the Middle East, but I don't know that we can ever go back to the status quo ante when there will not be at least a beefed up naval presence in the region, or perhaps some American planes or some other kind of American presence. Oh. I would doubt, Leslie, very much, based upon what I've heard from policymakers and what has been said, that we would have any kind of a major ground presence in that area after this is over.
Let me ask you a final question about all these intelligence snafus that we've been reading about, miscalculation on how many Scud mobile launchers there were. Apparently really misread the number of Iraqi troops that were in Kuwait, maybe by twice as many. Do we have an intelligence problem, Senator?
I think the most important failure of intelligence, and this is something we really need to learn as a lesson from this whole conflict, was strategic intelligence. You know, if you don't learn until 3 or 4 days before an invasion If you're President of the United States, you don't have very many options. If you could know 6 months ahead of time or a year ahead of time that Saddam might be a threat, that he might really covet his neighbors, that he has aggressive intentions, then you can set out to take other steps. You can send clear diplomatic warnings to him about what will happen if he takes this action. You might have talked to the Saudis, for example, about putting an American aircraft presence in Saudi Arabia before this all began to make your threat to Saddam credible. If you could have taken some of those steps, maybe you could have avoided this crisis. We've proven ourselves as a government good at crisis management. And now what we have to learn is crisis avoidance by having better long-term intelligence and by having our policymakers more sensitive to potential trouble spots before they really flare up into an all-out crisis. And I think that's the important lesson and the most serious flaw in terms of our intelligence early warning system that simply wasn't there in this situation.
Senator David Boren, chairman of the Intelligence Committee, thank you very much. And Charles.
You remember all the money the United States was going to save upon the end of the Cold War? The peace dividend that would be produced because the country wouldn't need to worry about the Russians anymore? Well, let's think about that. The United States was able to send a warplane every minute against Iraq, 24 hours a day. When the war plan called for tanks, thousands of tanks were gassed up and ready to go. Troops, no problem. 500,000 of them were sent to the scene in no time. By the way, back in Washington, as the war was going on, Defense Secretary Cheney took time out to say this to the Senate Armed Services Committee.
As we meet today, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, the department is really engaged in two very formidable tasks. On the one hand, we're fighting a major war in the Middle East. On the other hand, we are also involved in restructuring and reducing America's military forces.
Reducing America's military forces? You bet. Senator Carl Levin ticked off the weapons to be canceled. The very weapons that at the very moment were winning a war.
The F-14D remanufacturing program would be terminated, the Bradley fighting vehicle terminated, the F-16 terminated after '93. The AV-8B aircraft would be also terminated. This would be added to prior terminations, F-15, M1 tank, MLRS rockets, and so forth.
The Pentagon even proposed to cancel production of the star weapon of the war, the Patriot missile. And the biggest cut of all, the number of soldiers. 5 years from now, the Pentagon proposes to get by with 500,000 fewer men and women in uniform. That's how many were in the Persian Gulf. When the Cold War ended and May Day parades in Moscow started looking friendly instead of menacing, the United States, which needs to save money, decided to save a lot of it by cutting back the military. That was before Iraq invaded Kuwait. Suddenly, there were second thoughts.
If Desert Shield and Desert Storm arose in FY '96, could we have responded in the way in which we have responded to the situation here in 1991?
It clearly would be more difficult. We would have great difficulty executing Desert Shield, Desert Storm, the way we have over the last 6 months if it was 1995 or 1996.
Oklahoma Democrat Dave McCurdy.
I think the war itself woke up many within the administration and certainly within Congress to the reality that it's still a very dangerous world and that we need to be concerned about the steepness of the decline and the rapidity of the change.
120 Grumman F-14s flew in the Persian Gulf War. What's going to happen to the F-14 now? Grumman's Dennis Romano.
Unless something changes, when we deliver our last new production airplane in about May of next year, the F-14 program will be over, as far as this company is concerned.
The Navy said it had enough F-14s. This made Grumman very sad, of course. Then Saddam Hussein did what he did. Congress has already proposed restoring funding for the F-14. The Congressional Budget Office said today that even if all those weapons are canceled, the Pentagon has plans for so many new, more expensive weapons, such as the B-2 bomber, that in a few years the defense budget won't be falling at all. It'll be rising by $40 billion a year.
When we come back, growing up with a gun, kids for whom killing is an ugly fact of life.
Here's something for all you truck drivers to think about. There's an oil made special for trucks. An oil with the Shell brand. Oil that protects engines when they rev their highest and work their hardest. Think any oil will take care of your truck? Think again. Truck Guard from Shell.
Do you know what open-end mutual funds are?
The Wall Street Journal Guide to Understanding Money and Markets tells you in clear, simple English.
Do you know how to spot trends in stocks?
And what stock options are?
And zero coupon bonds?
And the difference between Treasury bills and Treasury notes?
Everything you want to know about the sometimes baffling world of money and investing is in this remarkable 120-page book. And now it's yours free when you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal. Call now and you can have 13 weeks of the Wall Street Journal and this valuable 120-page Guide to Understanding Money and Markets. That's 13 weeks of the Journal for the news and ideas you need every business day. And this guide free, which tells you everything you want to know about money and markets, all for only $37, a 24% savings off the newsstand price. Call now, toll-free 800-228-1900. That's 800-228-1900 for today's Wall Street Journal.
Everyone calls me father. And I love a kid's cereal.
Brave adults wrestle with the notion that Kellogg's Frosted Flakes is just for kids.
I work with tigers. I never thought I'd love one.
That delectable frosting, that incredible crunch. No wonder adults never outgrow the taste.
Oh, I'm guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
It's no crime. Frosted Flakes have the taste adults have grown to love. They're great.
The man who murdered her husband was supposed to be in prison, but there wasn't enough room.
We're coming out.
Not if she can help it. 48 hours. Then
she's dead.
McCabe teams up with his doctor to solve a murder.
As you can see, we make house calls.
Dick Van Dyke guest stars on Jake and the Fat Man right after 48 Hours Wednesday.
Some people solve mysteries on a wing and a prayer. Fly By Night premieres Thursday, April 4th on CBS Late Night. It's too hot to sleep.
We have some problems in this country that we haven't been paying much attention to during the Gulf War. In that war, 27 black American servicemen and women were killed. In the same period, many times 27 black Americans of the same age were killed by gunfire in every big American city. Now that the war's over, maybe it's time to hear about them.
Let's see, there was Boo, Joe, Tommy, Justice, Powell, Brian, Disco.
He is only 17. He's naming friends of his who already have been killed by guns.
Terry, and a lot more.
How far? That's a lot of friends. In this neighborhood, there are a lot of guns.
I know guys with AK-47s. I know guys with M60s. I know guys with rocket launchers.
357, 9mm. You got your shotgun, your pump.
We're hiding their faces because these two are trying to change their lives. They are not carrying guns, and they don't want it to get around. Most of their friends who didn't carry guns, and some who did, are dead.
Dozens. You know, I can count on my fingers and keep going to my toes.
Outrageous that children are saying I must have a gun or some kind of weapon to protect myself because someone is going to try to kill me or eliminate me, and I'm not going to let them do it.
That sounds like Tombstone or Deadwood or Dodge City. John Bess knows neighborhoods far wilder than any of the Wild West. Listen to what he hears at the Manhattan Valley Outreach Center.
Everybody's looking for the quick fix, and it's kill or be killed.
I'm scared. I'm even scared to come outside in my own community, even though it's quiet.
To carry a gun, whatever, that's just your natural instinct showing you how to keep yourself alive and keep from getting killed.
How did this happen? Teenagers used to settle their disputes with fist fights. Start a fist fight today, and it'll get you shot dead.
Then you realize, you know, what person you want to be. You know, if you want to be the person in front of the gun or you want to be the person behind the gun. You know, and sometimes it's like, man, you know, I don't want to end up like Joe or Tom, you know, in front of the gun to catch the bullet. So that's where you make your decision which side you want to be on, you know.
They are poor, of course. They grow up in broken homes or without homes. What if you live in a neighborhood like this and want to grow up and go to college? What do you think about? His name is Patrick.
I just thought about getting over. I thought about this and surviving. No, just concerned about reaching my next birthday without getting shot or murdered.
Patrick is in college because he wanted some things guns couldn't get him.
A family. That was one of them. A family was one. I guess the traditional family I thought was on TV. And that's it.
Patrick was lucky enough to make his way into the Kings County Juvenile Program, which specializes in telling kids the truth.
Half of y'all won't live until you pass 20.
And in giving them the kind of individual attention they don't get at home or in school. They'll throw away their guns, some of them, but with misgivings, because they know how it is on the streets.
They flash these big old fancy guns, and you know, you're like, wow, I want to get one of those. You know, the next question is, you got some money, and then you on the hunt to get some money to buy a gun. One day, I'll never know, a gun might save my life.
The leading cause of death in young black teenagers in this country is young black teenagers. More die of gunfire than of all diseases combined. The problem was bad 5 years ago. Today, it's twice as bad. Here's a message to America from John Bess, who knows.
I've never seen young people who have no fear of police, no fear of adults, no fear to shoot somebody and kill someone. There are young people out there that are horrible and terrible and dangerous and frightening. And if we don't pay attention, everyone that's watching this television show, their life and their lives are in jeopardy.
What's happening in New York and Chicago and Detroit, some people think, may be more important to the future of this country than what happened in Dhahran and Basra and Baghdad. Leslie and I will be right back.
Best Western always welcomes me wherever I might roam, reflecting the pride of the cities they call home. Best Western, it's not the same old place. Best Western, for my individual taste. Oh, Best Western.
Best Western, as individual as America itself. When you rinse first with Plax, normal everyday brushing takes on a whole new meaning. Plax, clinically proven to remove more plaque than brushing alone.
Here's an eye drop so refreshing you won't believe your eyes.
Wow.
It's Visine Extra. It gets the red out while an extra medication cools, soothes, moisturizes, and protects. Get Visine Extra.
Why can't America feed its hungry children? A government program is supposed to provide nutritional aid to needy, pregnant women and children. But more and more of those requesting assistance are finding out that there's not enough aid to go around. The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Wednesday, how far can a reporter go?
Buying babies is illegal.
Before telling the story becomes the story.
That baby was just fine until you came along.
WIOU.
America Tonight will continue.
Hello, I'm Randy Sutton for First Muscle Therapy Group, the Pain Clinic and Sports Injury Rehabilitation Center. We've always strived to provide you with the best medical service possible, and now the best has just gotten better. We now offer you the care of a medical doctor, a chiropractic physician, all in the convenience of one friendly office. We offer effective treatment for auto accident victims, neck and back problems, arthritis, and even headache pain. Call now and your initial consultation is free. The first name in pain control is First Muscle Therapy Group.
When we started Rock Springs Vista 4 years ago, life began at 54950. Summerlin, Desert Shores, and Angel Park were only an idea. Today, over 500 families live at Rock Springs Vista. We were first then, and we're first now, because we gave you what you wanted, a good housing value at a price you can live with. Compare the rest and come see Rock Springs Vista. Quality homes for people who know a good buy when they see it.
Where life begins at 64950.
I'm Gary Waddell. Channel 8 and Southern Nevada salute the brave men and women of Operation Desert Storm.
On tomorrow's front pages, the New York Times quotes diplomats who say Iran has begun a methodical campaign to unseat Saddam Hussein. The paper reports Iran has been arming many Iraqi rebels in their revolt. And tomorrow, the former U.S. ambassador to Iraq, April Glaspie, breaks her silence and testifies on Capitol Hill. Last July, Glaspie told Saddam Hussein the U.S. took no position on his border dispute with Kuwait. 1 week later, Iraq invaded Kuwait.
Before we see you again tomorrow night, cosmic events will occur. The sun will hang for an instant directly above the equator. The length of day and night will be the same everywhere on Earth. Mercury, the morning star, will appear instead at evening. And I know, because I've been watching it carefully, in a dooryard in West 4th Street in the city of New York, a daffodil will bloom. This time tomorrow night, it will, in other words, be spring. And after the winter this world has endured, just in time. Good night, Leslie.
Good night, Charles. Good night, everyone.
Tomorrow night, another hour-long America Tonight call-in. Join Lesley Stahl and Charles Kuralt and a special guest, an American Air Force POW just back from Iraq. Call after 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time or fax us your questions anytime at 212-975-7596.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
When sore muscles or minor arthritis pain hold you back, you need strong medicine. Ben Gay, with not just one, but 2 pain relievers. Warming power for fast relief helps get you going again. Ben Gay, fast, strong medicine for pain relief.
Now, learn to read with Hooked on Phonics. Because Hooked on Phonics is set to music, the right and left brain work together with dramatic reading results. After learning one 18-minute lesson, it's possible to read book 1, over 120 pages. So for the beginner or anyone needing reading help, get Hooked on Phonics and learn to read. Call 1-800-ABCDEFG. 1-800-ABCDEFG.
Introducing a new detergent, Clorox Ultra Detergent.
Clorox makes a detergent? Detergent?
New Clorox Ultra Detergent.
Ultra
Detergent from Clorox. 1 small scoop is all you need.
good.
New Clorox Ultra Detergent. It gets clothes clean while it removes dingy residue other detergents can leave behind. You can see the difference it makes.
Gangbusters. It's not a bleach, it's detergent.
New Clorox Ultra Detergent.
I've got to get some of this.
Hey, Las Vegas, if you heard the rap, there's a sale going on. Walker's where it's at. It's an all-out blowout sale throughout the store. Bedrooms, living rooms, and much, much more. Deals and discounts up to 60%. Everything's on sale. Don't miss this event. The hottest styles on famous names. Broyhill, Simmons, Lazy Boy, and Lane. Next day delivery and you won't pay a dime. When you Walker charge it, baby, we'll give you some time. So hurry into Walker and see what's the rave, because you like what you see and you love what you save.
No matter what sport suits your fancy, you can suit up for less at the Sports Authority. With an incredible selection of everything you need to play over 300 sports and then some. In fact, we can make an athlete out of just about anybody.
Are you sure this is how Bo Jackson got started?
The Sports Authority. You've never seen anything quite like it.